What's going on, everyone? So this is a new series today I'm starting, Transfer Tuesdays. Got a couple to start the series today. It's not going to be a very long video today, but I'm just getting into the swing of it, and as I said, it's a new thing. So first one I want to talk about is Dean Henderson. Obviously Manchester United #2 at the moment, but he's told Ollie that he wants to be playing first team football, which he has every right to. I'm quite a fan of Dean, but I don't see him dislodging David De Gea, and the contract David De Gea is on as well. I don't see other teams putting in the money to come buy him. I don't think that Dean Henderson's going to be getting first team football. He's playing some of the cup games and that at the moment for United, but I can't see him breaking in. So I do think that he's going to have to move to further his career if he wants first team football, because I don't think it's going to be at United, especially not in the next year or so. Potentially in the future it could be when David De Gea leaves, but as I said, the wages and everything that David De Gea is on, there's going to be maybe one or two clubs, if that are going to be willing to come and pay for David De Gea. So I do think Henderson's going to have to move. The two teams I've seen linked with him are Tottenham Hotspur and Borussia Dortmund. Now Borussia Dortmund are an interesting one. They've got a keeper called Hitz, who is in his 30s, I believe. He's been there a while. He actually scored a goal, I think, from a corner or something once. But I don't know what his contract is, Hitz at Dortmund. Maybe he's coming to an end there, or he's retiring, I'm not too sure. But Henderson could potentially go over there. I don't know how badly they want him, if it's just speculation and rumours, but I think the more viable option and the more realistic option would be Tottenham Hotspur, because he stays in England, he doesn't have to travel as much, and he doesn't have to uproot, and I don't know if he's got kids, or do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to uproot his life as much to go abroad, even though it's not too far to Germany. But just in terms of the culture and everything, I think it makes more sense for him to go to an English team. So whether it's Tottenham or whether it's another Premier League team, potentially he might go to Championship. I can't see it now that he's had a taste of Premiership football. A more realistic option would be Tottenham Hotspur. Hugo Lloris is in his final year of his contract at Tottenham. I don't know what they're doing with that. And obviously he's younger than Lloris, so it's going to be interesting, because I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham are quite interested in Dean, especially after impressing at Sheffield United. And I don't think Lloris is performing to the standards that he once was, even though he's a World Cup winner and such. So I could see him potentially that deal happening. I don't know how many other goalkeepers they're linked with, Tottenham, but if Lloris is in his final year and they're not offering him a new contract, which looks like that might be happening, then Dean Henderson could be the one for Tottenham. So as I said, I think for his career, Dean Henderson does need to move. I do like him, as I said. I would give him a chance in certain games, but Ollie won't do that, and most teams won't do that, I don't think, because if your number one is performing consistently, you don't really need to drop him. I'm not saying David De Gea doesn't make any mistakes any of the time, but he doesn't make too many, especially compared to a few years ago. Do you know what I mean? When he had that horrible season. So, and he's a former World Cup winner and everything, David De Gea. So there's levels. And as I said, I'm a big fan of Dean Henderson, but I do think he needs to move. So Spurs and Borussia Dortmund he's been linked with. So that is the first one. And then I've heard that Raphinha from Leeds, who I'm a big fan of, but I think United should go for. I would rather have Raphinha over Jadon Sancho. I don't care what anyone's got to say, because I don't think Jadon Sancho is terrible, but he's not had a great season a few months back at least. I don't know what he's doing right now. I think he might have upped his form again recently, but I would rather have Raphinha. I didn't know about the guy until Leeds were in the Premiership. Brazilian winger. But he's just, I think he's one of their best players at nearly every game for Leeds, Raphinha. And I just think he's more versatile than Jadon Sancho. He's more of a threat, I believe. I'm a bit sick of the Jadon Sancho talk. If Manchester United get him eventually, then I will sing his praises and I will welcome him to the club. But as for now, I'm sick of hearing Jadon Sancho talk all the time. So I think Manchester United should go for Raphinha. But we'll wait to see what happens. I mean, centre-back has to be priority, and maybe a centre defensive midfielder. So I'm hearing that Liverpool are interested in him, which is very interesting. And obviously they got Jota not too long ago, who hasn't played massively, whether that's due to injury or... But would he fit in at Liverpool? I think he would, because he works his socks off as a player. He's got the technical ability. He's got the end product. I think his end product could do with a little bit more at times, but he's getting there. I just think it would suit him. He's a bit like a kind of Mane in my opinion, but I think he's got more to his game than Mane in terms of dribbling and skill. I think Mane's a better goal scorer, but Mane's had a poor season. So it's interesting to see that he's been linked with Liverpool, and that is coming from the Daily Star. Let me know your thoughts on the Raphinha one. I think that's very interesting. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league right now, and if he can consistently do that, then there's going to be more teams coming in for him, I think. So Raphinha to Liverpool, that could possibly happen, and I think it would just add an extra bow. And they would have him, they would have Salah, they would have Mane. You could potentially play Shaqiri on the right maybe to cut in and shoot, but he's more of a central player. So I just think he would suit Liverpool. He reminds me a little bit of Mahrez, if I'm honest, but he's probably a little bit more counter-attacking than the Mahrez. Mahrez cuts in a bit more, whereas Raphinha does cut in, but he's better as well, just straight runs and just little movements in his body, but he's got the quickness and the speed to get past players with just touching the ball around and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Raphinha. I don't think he's going to be at Leeds for a number of years, because I think there's that many eyes on him, and I think they should be, if there isn't already. As I said, I'm one of his big fans, so I think he's very underrated, and it'd be interesting if he did go to Liverpool, but I think Manchester United should be looking at players like him. He can add a bit of dynamism to the wing, and I think that we could majorly do with that. So Raphinha potentially to Liverpool, and that is coming from the Daily Star. So that is today's show, guys. I've only got 2 today, but as I get more used to doing this show, I will try and do a bit more each time. Well, I say that I'm not going to give numbers each show. I'm just going to see what's out there and bring it into the show. So Transfer Tuesdays. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I'll be back next Tuesday with another new show. I'll see you then.